Oh hey there, what am I doing? Oh nothing, just admiring this cool looking background right here. You know this took me roughly 6 hours to draw and it's gonna get like what, 10 seconds of screen time? Such is the life of an animator. You spend hours upon hours on, let's say, a background for it to have just less than 10 seconds of screen time. Heck, it isn't even the main focus, it's only used in the background. Fun fact, you know those industry cartoons or anime we all watch? Did you know for every second you watch, that's 24 drawings being played at a really fast speed, giving you the illusion of movement? Hold up, did you just say 24 drawings? Yeah, so let's take a typical anime episode which lasts for like 20 minutes. And if 1 second equals 24 frames, and 60 seconds make a minute, that's 1,440 frames a minute, which means an episode there's around 28,800 frames. Let's not forget we have things easy now that technology has improved. Instead of drawing a new page over and over, we can just copy and paste, which leads to animating in 1s, 2s, or 3s. But back in the day, animators didn't have devices like iPads and Cintiqs or even PCs. They used a transparent sheet called a cell. Most of our childhood cartoons were made using cells. For example, Scooby-Doo, The Jetsons, even the early episodes of SpongeBob were made using cells. So seeing how they didn't have the luxury of copy and paste, they had to draw and paint each frame over and over, and there was no room for mistake either. So you can just imagine the amount of time it took them to make a single episode of SpongeBob back then. Also, mind you, they weren't able to hit play and watch the animations to see if there was a mistake in the timing. So to make up for not being able to see the previous frames, what animators will do is that they will draw their character from pose to pose. They will draw out the key poses the characters will make, and then they will hold the piece of paper in between each of their fingers and then quickly flip them to get an idea of how the drawing that will fit in between those will look like. That's called in-betweening, by the way. So you could just say animations back then were a really long flip book. Even now, the biggest challenge for artists, especially freelancers like myself, is that we all need to use something in our daily life called money. And you have to find ways to turn your art into money. Animation as a professional job too isn't stable in the sense that some days you would have a lot of jobs and projects, and some other days you'd have 0 jobs. So seeing how art, especially animation, is not easy at all, I try to show support to any animator, beginner or professional, in any way I can. You know what? This background deserves more screen time, so we're gonna stay here together and look at it for another 5 seconds.